On the 2nd of March, on a Sunday, President Trump tweeted on Truth Social saying there's going to be a strategic crypto reserve. It's going to include XRP, Solana, and ADA.
No, it did, and this is really building upon what he said in January. He says that this new national crypto reserve will include Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a trio of high volatility tokens, Solana, XRP, and Cardano. He's calling it a move to elevate the industry after what the president described as years of corrupt attacks under the Biden administration. Now, unlike traditional reserves of gold, petroleum, or grain, commodities accumulated for strategic security, this reserve would more closely resemble an active portfolio of speculative assets. The shift in language from stockpile to reserve also suggests the U.S. may actively acquire and manage cryptocurrencies rather than just holding seized tokens. Now, the crypto market, coming off its worst month since 2022, reacted instantly. Bitcoin and Ethereum surged over 10%, while Cardano spiked as much as 70%. And attention now really turns to Friday's first ever Whitehouse Crypto Summit, where the president, along with his crypto czar David Sachs, regulators, and industry leaders will talk next steps. We'll be watching to see whether the president shares a buying strategy or plans to push this through without congressional approval.
With that news, those three coins started pumping. ADA went to 100% up. I think Solana went 20 and XRP about 40 or something like that. A few minutes later, he then tweeted that, oh, Bitcoin and Ethereum are also included. They're also great coins. What we take away from that is that they're no longer talking about a Bitcoin strategic reserve. It's now a crypto strategic reserve. And most of the coins that are probably going to be in it will then be made in US crypto coins. The announcement on the Sunday was a way to sidestep TradFi. As you know, TradFi shuts on Friday around 4 or 5 o'clock New York Times. But crypto is 24/7. Going on the Sunday was a chess move that would have destabilized TradFi investors. We retail investors have been here for the last 5-6 years, are sort of one step ahead of them. A lot of Bitcoin maxis didn't take to this very well. One of them, Brian Armstrong, said this should have been a Bitcoin thing, not every single crypto under the sun. 3 days later, of course, we had Howard Lutnick, the US Commerce Secretary, saying Bitcoin is going to be treated very differently. So that's one up for us. Unfortunately, the very next day after Monday was up, and then people were like, we're back, crypto is back, we're going to the moon. The 4th of March came through and the tariffs came through. And then the great dump began again. Another person who's really bullish about the Bitcoin reserve is Michael Saylor. He looks so happy. He's got so much to say about Summit and his reserve.
I would say the number one thing is lay down clarity amongst digital assets, because there's a lot of conflict and confusion because people misdefine the terms currency, commodity, security, token. And the important thing to keep in mind is Bitcoin is the one universally agreed upon foundational asset in the entire crypto economy, because it's the asset without an issuer, it's neutral. 99% of the energy and the capital has flown into that one. But I want to be clear that the U.S. has the opportunity to be the leader in digital assets if they have a progressive framework that supports currencies, securities, and tokens as well.
Michael Saylor there on Fox News. Meanwhile, El Salvador's president, Bukele, is buying Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. Even though he made a deal with IMF saying they lend the country some money, they'll stop dilly-dallying with Bitcoin, but he's still bullish. They've bought around 6,101 Bitcoin since 2021. And he's still buying. This should be an indication that once the American Bitcoin reserve is announced officially, other countries are going to try to front run that before they can go to Congress and get it all sealed, signed, and delivered. Obviously, Bukele is one of the few who started long before everybody else. And there's no way China is not going to go into Bitcoin reserve. There's no way Russia is not going to try. And we already mentioned before in one of my videos last year that Switzerland thinking about doing it. Japan would definitely go in, and I believe Korea. So why has the price of Bitcoin and everything been tanking? Apart from one, these tariffs that were supposed to come in on the 4th of March went crazy. But then the Canadian President, Trudeau, seen here.
Now, it's not in my habit to agree with the Wall Street Journal, but Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
You heard him there saying the president is clever and intelligent, but he's coming up with dumb ideas.
The tariffs the U.S. administration chose to impose will hurt American workers and businesses. And that, as our shared history has proven, we should work together instead to tackle today's challenges rather than fighting one another.
Trump backing down as the markets nosedive, the Dow losing 428 points, right now on track for its worst week in 2 years. And they are down even as Trump gave in to Mexico and Canada today, pausing his 25% tariffs.
Donald Trump delaying the tariffs for another 4 weeks till April the 4th, which is around my birthday. A great day, the best day, nice birthday. It's going to be the greatest. The feeling we're getting in crypto is that Donald Trump is treating crypto as his pretty mistress that he hasn't seen for a few months. When he was inaugurated, no word of crypto. All of a sudden now, he's coming in with flowers, chocolates, and a flight to Cancun on his private jet. And this can be seen as the 7th of March, today, for the Whitehouse Crypto Summit. What the crypto retailer is looking for is for them to buy more Bitcoin, like Senator Luna said, and so that our bank can pump. But so far, the news looks like a wet blanket to lots of our crypto bros. The problem with Donald Trump is he's unpredictable, so I'm not going to try and guess what's going to happen. I'm going to come back, hopefully when it's not too dark, and I can use daylight and film another exciting episode of Crypto Summit Part 2. Okay, the White House Crypto Summit happened last night, so this is Part 2. I try to keep the same situation so that there's continuity, but who knows? It's fair to say that President Trump gave away most of what was going to come out of the summit the day before by signing an executive order, and everyone was already speculating on it, seen on CNBC.
So what was the disappointment?
The big expectation was that we would see some sort of Bitcoin purchasing plan in tandem with the announcement of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But the language in that executive order was very specific about it just meaning that we would hold on to what was already seized in criminal operations rather than roll out any sort of taxpayer dollars into a buying scheme.
So as expected, the who's who of crypto were there.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Great honor to have you. I know you've all been working very hard and very successfully. A wonderful place, the White House.
If we look at Crypto with Can's X account, he showed most of the kind of, the main characters in this drama. There was a lot of patting the president on the back for putting this summit together and being crypto positive.
Thank you, Mr. Bay, because of your vision for that. We're also here because of your desire to make America great.
The U.S. won the internet, and the U.S. should win crypto. So thank you for your leadership on this.
Thank you both very much.
David Sachs also patting the president on the back.
I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love working for you, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, David, very much. Appreciate it.
Sergio Nazarov of Chainlink patting the president on the back.
I just want to express my deep gratitude for the seriousness with which you're approaching our industry and how you're actually helping guide it in the right direction.
On bills to provide regulatory certainty for dollar-backed stablecoins and the digital assets market. This is a tremendous opportunity for economic growth and innovation in our financial sector, and we feel like pioneers in a way. Lawmakers will send that legislation to my desk before August recess if they can, and they're very much working with you, and you know a lot of them, and a lot of them were committed right from the very beginning. So I just want to congratulate you all for being at the White House today, and a man who knows more about Bitcoin and AI and just about everything else than anybody, David Sachs. And
thank you for having me be a part of it. And now I just want to pass the ball to Secretary Besson.
Scott?
When President Trump has signed the executive order to establish the strategic Bitcoin reserve and stockpile, we're going to position the United States as a leader among nations in the digital asset strategy. It's important for the United States to recognize this fact and get ahead of the other nations in the digital age. President Trump is creating assets for the American people while most past presidents have created debt. We are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that. Thank you.
Kelly Loeffler, the Small Business Administrator.
Kelly, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is truly a historic day, and as a crypto founder, I couldn't be more proud to be part of your administration.
There was a lot of moving at the speed of tech,
You're moving at the speed of tech for sure.
From David Sachs.
People, your administration is moving at tech speed.
And it was true that no one could have envisaged this after Operation Choke Point or 2.0 so soon.
No one in this room could have envisioned this just a couple years ago. It is amazing how far we've come, and that's a credit to you, Mr. President, and your leadership, and God bless you for doing this, because it's going to make a huge difference with everything else you're doing. And by the way, Americans love it.
But why no euphoria after all this? In fact, Bitcoin went down to 86,417 after the summit. Due to technical difficulties, we weren't able to see every single thing that went on in the summit. But Brian Armstrong had an interview with CNBC later on, and he had this to say.
So what were your takeaways from the summit?
President Trump really breathed life back into this industry. Over the last few years, we really felt like we were being unlawfully attacked by the prior administration. And under another fork of history, this industry might not have existed in the United States. It might have been moved entirely offshore. But luckily, the president has taken a leadership role here and decided to bring it back to the U.S. And it's already having positive results. For instance, Coinbase is planning to hire about 1,000 people here in the United States as a result of this industry getting regulatory clarity here in the U.S. If the United States government is now a holder of Bitcoin, maybe a buyer of Bitcoin, the rest of the G20 are going to see that as a signal that Bitcoin is really the successor to the gold standard, and maybe the rest of the G20 should also hold a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Brian Armstrong there, CEO of Coinbase, sounding a little bit bullish. So as for me, I didn't think this was a nothing burger. I know we in crypto have a kind of TikTok mind where we want everything to happen straight away. One day we're up, next day we're down. One day we're bearish, next day we're bullish. But we're the big boys now. We got to have, as Ivan on Tech says, big boy pants on. Moving on, the takeaways from this is that yes, there's going to be a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's going to be made up of Bitcoin they already have in their coffers. No taxpayers' money is going to be spent on new Bitcoin. They're going to try and buy or accumulate more Bitcoin by using budget-neutral strategies. Other countries are bound to jump on the bandwagon and not want to be left behind. So that will put a lot of buy pressure on Bitcoin and other made in America coins. As I said before, Operation Choke Crypto to Death .2 is gone. Get that name right. The growth of stablecoin means the dollar is still going to be in the forefront of buying and selling, because most of the biggest stablecoins are going to be backed by the dollar. America will still have that advantage. Number 6, I'd say, is that everything is now set for really bullish conditions for altcoins and crypto to blow up. All we have to wait for now is for global M2 money supply to shoot up, and 10 weeks later, not financial advice, crypto will catch up with that. So whether that's going to be in April or May or after summer, I can't tell you that. But what we can say is maybe once quantitative tightening is over and China, Europe, all these other countries start printing money and pumping up the global M2 supply, then we know we're in for a killer bull run. So until next time, this is Alexander F. Olileri reporting, not quite from the summit, about the summit. And I'll say see you next time.